You showed that cat whose claws are sharper, eh?
This is an old game, and when I walked into the barracks and I was walking into my first fight, seeing like the blood just start increasing, and then that table, right? Walk up the stairs and there's more blood. You go up to the door, there's blood all over the door with handprints. I was just like, what game? Like, it's all suddenly getting that nice horror aspect that I love from Fallout as well. Right? And then you go into the arena, more blood, and then immediately the arena starts. It is so cool that this game is years old, and there's things that I'm getting out of it that I want out of current games.
So today we are talking about the arena. The arena is a gladiator-like combat zone in the heart of Cyrodiil's Imperial City. It's also a faction that players can join by signing up for ranked fights against legendary heroes across Tamriel. Whether you're testing different playstyles in the arena, claiming the rewards of the faction questline, or just simply finding the fun in engaging with Oblivion's diverse combat system, the arena is a must-play experience for Elder Scroll fans. Hello and welcome to Tactically Sound, an RPG podcast hosted by myself and JumbyJumbwa. So Matt and I are longtime Skyrim players, braving the Imperial City's cursed lands, and thought it'd be fun to pitch to Elder Scrolls fans alike why the arena is worth your time. I've personally invested hours into this combat-infused Tamrielian blood sport, the arena, and I want to highlight these 3 different strategies I've been employing in the arena. And Matt, I want to get your reaction to see if these strategies are indeed tactically sound. So these are the playstyles that succeed in the arena for me. So the first one I've been employing actually comes from the realization that a YouTube commenter made to me, which is that he says, this is from Zachary, yes, it does like combat midair beautiful. Not going to lie, the first time I played Skyrim back in the day, I jumped in the air and I couldn't use my bow and arrow, and I was just like, oh my. And when he said that, I was thinking about it, it's like, it's been a minute since I played Skyrim. Matt, is that true? When you play Skyrim, you can't shoot your bow in the air?
Yeah, there must be mods for it because I've done that. But I'm trying to think back to vanilla Skyrim. I think that's true. That sucks.
Yeah, as I was playing today, Arena, like I'm now officially a hero in the arena, and I was jumping in the air, shooting, and I was thinking, yeah, I would miss that if I was coming from Oblivion, maxing out my acrobatics. And like someone else said, when you're hopping from building to building, it might even have been Zachary who said this, but he's like, you're hopping from building to building, and then you go to Skyrim and like the acrobatics isn't as much of a part of it. In Skyrim, you always mention the stealth archer. In Oblivion, I think it's the acrobatic archer, and that's something
it feels more like a first-person shooter, right? Like they're playing more towards like PC players who who they were maybe playing Doom at the time or Halo, and it's like,
totally.
Hey, let's
mentioned
try
Quake,
that
like it reminds me of Quake.
Yes, totally. And so I kind of like that. I miss that, and it's cool to see an archery style playthrough with that sort of gameplay.
Right.
Yeah, that's totally a valid way to play the arena.
Because also the other thing, you always mention there's no sprint, and so you'll be charged at by these like fast sword masters. And so using your acrobatics in the arena is key. So the acrobatic archer is number 1. Number 2 for me is Summoning Mage. So this is when I figured out that I could tame my foul beasts, summon them to fight on my behest or in tandem with my swinging sword. So it's like I got my action going, and I got my skeleton, and I've even started to be even more strategic. I used to just do, I think it's called the scamp or the scramp. I would use him because he was the most powerful, but I realized he's firing his flames, and if I'm firing my arrows, we could both miss. Then like in the arena, you'll go against really fast gladiators. So I started employing the skeleton because he's got his axe. So he's going melee while I'm going ranged. And we're really starting to maximize the technique in the arena.
You got your party system going on right now. Right. It's Final Fantasy now.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, so in Elder Scrolls in general, did you ever play with summoning? Like in Skyrim, is summoning something you've done?
So only as like a vampire playthrough where I'm like summoning gargoyles. I
sick.
never
That's dope.
really dived deeper into the summoning, maybe a little bit with the Mages Guild, but I've always been that stealth archer, the Dark Brotherhood assassin, or just your tried and true companion.
Love that. The third and final for me is the Warrior of Restoration. So this is when I do have that like trustworthy sword that is charged up with its full power. My problem is I drain it way too fast. And I've mentioned this in the podcast before, that I really need to get into being able to charge up my own magical weapons. But when it is charged, I've found that with just simple restoration spells is a deadly combo. So the right weapon, I've been hoping, Matt, that pretty soon you will stumble upon your sword that clicks all the gameplay together for you. And so this one is for you, because I know your player is kind of set up to be a warrior, and we've been trying to find you the right weapon.
This is my play style. This is definitely my play style. I had to switch. What's interesting for the warrior, like my strategy has been, try to get some range with a two-handed weapon and like move backwards, acrobats, so like pivot around the player. Find maybe a model or a tree, something to hide behind and cheese a little bit. But I noticed in the arena, I had to switch up my strategy a little bit with this warrior restoration and use more of a shield. I needed to play a little bit more defensively, which was interesting.
Yeah, because when they hit your shield, does that cause them to kind of knock back a little bit, and does it stun them?
Right, yeah, it creates there's a little bit of a lull or a gap in between their hits, and especially when they hit your shield, you can easily see the tells of when to go in and hit. And I guess my brain, after playing Elden Ring, is loving that.
That's a reward in its own, is seeing the tactics and like finding the fun in that combat. For me, I love that arena is just simple. It's like sometimes complicated quest designs can damage the fun for me, where it's like, wait, I gotta look up a playthrough, or wait, what was I supposed to do? Other times it's rewarding to use the full brain. But as far as just like simple quest design, I think arena is one of the best, but it also has that challenge. Like if you are looking for a challenging, combat scenario, I think it provides that. It's like the right amount of challenging. And I have this new gameplay loop that I wanted to tell you about. So I start in the arena, I do a battle, and then I go to a blacksmith or armorer, usually the one in, is it called Skingrad, I think? I go there, I sell whatever I can, I buy arrows, make sure I always have plenty of arrows, and then I go to a dungeon that's in a lower area, maybe something near Coral or also near Skingrad, and then I'll go into the mines and I'll work on the same mine over multiple visits. So I'll lure the goblins out where I know there's an Oblivion guard. And this comes from the story of the developers themselves, where someone was like, I got bailed out by the guards. And I was thinking, that's a classic Bethesda technique. Utilize a really powerful NPC who's gonna have that high responsibility directive as an AI, and they're gonna take charge of the situation. So I've been plucking these goblins out of this mine, and they have like 90 arrows. And one goblin had like 90 steel arrows and like 80 iron arrows. I was like, that is a hack. And then they're coming with dwarven maces, dwarven swords. So I'm taking that stuff, selling it again, and then going to the Mages Guild and buying any extra spells I need, or maybe buying more potions or whatever. And then I go back into the arena. So I've been kind of looping that in. And I've also brought in the Oblivion portal because there's good equipment there. And again, this is what I love about Oblivion, is you don't have to finish something. Like you could go in the Oblivion portal, kind of inch your way in, and then come back out with the loot, sell it, and work your way further and further, trying to use enemy scaling to your advantage, basically visiting the enemies so they freeze in their leveling, and then leveling up yourself and then returning. So it's kind of this own strategy that emerges from playing Bethesda games and reading about the Prima Guide and all the other sources. But I wanted to pull this quote from the unofficial Elder Scrolls pages. They say, after each fight, the arena combatants can use the Basin of Renewal found inside the Red Room. So named because blood from the arena floor above is said to drip down the walls to restore themselves. So I forgot about this in this playthrough. I did do one other playthrough on PlayStation Now. We've talked about this. And I did make it, I think, all the way through Arena, and then I stopped. And then I started playing on the Series X. And so that's something I forgot, is I would keep staring at this like blood basin thinking, is that something I should interact with? And reading about this episode, I was reminded that yes, there is that. You could do that right after. If you just want to go right back in, you can just heal outside of the arena.
I was just so impressed by that, by the way. I just wanted to say, like, this is an old game, and when I walked into the barracks and I was walking into my first fight, seeing like the blood just start increasing, and then that table, right? And then you walk up the stairs and there's more blood. You go up to the door, there's blood all over the door with handprints. I was just like, what game? Like, it's all suddenly getting that nice horror aspect that I love from Fallout as well, right? And then you go into the arena, more blood, and then immediately the arena starts. It is so cool that this game is years old, and there's things that I'm getting out of it that I want out of current games.
Totally. And I think you're right. And again, this is why I keep saying Quake, because it has that gothic medieval horror feel. That is a great setting to explore. And you're right, the arena feels brutal. And so I think it adds to the charm of the Imperial City as a whole, because you see these vintage style posters. When I always say I love the retro Dungeons and Dragons aesthetic of like medieval action heroes. And that's what this charm of the arena faction brings to the Imperial City, because the Imperial City can come across as a little bit vanilla at times. And I think having the arena centers it as like this attraction that draws you in. You've mentioned that Oblivion feels a little bit like an amusement park sometimes. I think this adds to that, but in a positive way. Totally. And it just deepens the lore, because every fighter you go up against has a little bit of a background. You know, they'll say where they're coming from, and that'll play into a little bit of not just the lore background, but also how you are going to strategize against them. And then, of course, this is a callback to Arena. So like seeing the original game background and setting of Elder Scrolls tied into the now, well, I believe this is the fourth official Elder Scrolls game. It's a cool way to make new players curious about older games, because I'm finally starting to think, maybe I should play Arena. Like, maybe I should go back and explore that game, because it would maybe bring in even more lore. Right. Yeah, because I've never been curious about that. So, any other thoughts on like the relevance of the Arena being in Oblivion?
Not really. It just makes me think of what other games did I play with an arena in? And I love this. Like, where is that in other games? I want more of that. And I only thought of a couple, like one that kind of has this feeling a little bit would be like Jedi Fallen Order. You know, you get kidnapped and thrown into a bounty hunter arena and you have to fight your way out.
That's cool.
The other game that kind of is, I guess, sort of similar to the RPG mechanics of Bethesda games would be like CD Projekt Red with like Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk. They have their boxing arena or
that's cool. Yeah,
competitions,
that's right.
Or I don't know how they structure it, but like there's a storyline with it as well, right? And you're ranking up so that you can fight harder harder competitors.
Enemies.
Gladiators.
Yeah, you're giving me PTSD, because I'm remembering why I didn't finish the second DLC of The Witcher. Is you go to that island, it's like beautiful, and it's just so vibey, and then you get thrown into an arena, I think, and I got filtered.
Yes, I played
That's where
a
I'm
little
stuck.
bit of that. Oh,
right.
I
need to start The Witcher over, because I got destroyed.
You and I, we got to do this and talk about it.
Right. Tactically Sound does Witcher 3. We'll get that on the books.
Happening.
Right. So before we go, I just wanted to name 3 quick facts about the arena that I thought were interesting. So again, this comes back to something I saw in the first playthrough of Arena, and something that I totally forgot about this time is there's a gambler. So like outside of the arena, this is coming from the Prima guide for Oblivion. They say, this appears pretty straightforward. Speak to Hundolin, the gatekeeper. This agreeable fellow will accept your wager on either the yellow or the blue team for 2 SSO, or I don't know if that's a typo, but 100 gold as many times as you wish while the arena is open for business. If you win, see Hundolin again and you'll get double your money back. Once you place your bet, enter the right-hand arena door onto a balcony overlooking the killing floor with a cheering crowd around you, and you can't reach these folks and couldn't interact with them even if you could. However, you can chat with 8 NPCs who visit the balcony. So I don't want to give too much away. I just wanted to throw that out there if you're like me and just started fighting, that you could also bet on fights. So is that something you noticed? Did you pick up on that?
I didn't notice that, but that's something I definitely, you play with in Witcher 3. So that's really cool that they have it in Oblivion. I guess the only other thing I would add on top of what you were saying is just really unique and cool about the arena in Oblivion is just uncovering the conspiracy, with Lord Leviticus and Agronach and his maiden orc mother, Lukta? I don't know if I'm saying their names right, but just like having that whole storyline paired with just a fun arena roleplay experience adds such a depth to the game. And I wish more games had that kind of depth. And it made me think about I feel like I'm playing a gladiator game now, and I'm not just playing Oblivion. But that's what Bethesda does. It makes you feel like you're having a whole new game experience within the game. Playthrough after playthrough after playthrough. It's insane what they do.
Right. And I've put hours into the game, and what you just said went over my head. So I'm like, is there a different entry point into this quest that you got through that I haven't? Because I just started fighting, and like I'm waiting for a lore to tie in.
You have to talk to there's an orc in there he's like called Agronach, but he is also known as the Grey Prince.
That's right. So that is coming up. Yeah, I've heard the Grey Prince's name now. Okay. It's starting to click. Yeah. All right, so I also want to we have to mention that there is the Adoring Fan, and if you know, he's the biggest meme of Oblivion. I haven't seen him in this playthrough yet. I'm trying to remember if I have to beat the game or beat the arena quest line. Have you been approached by
There's an Adoring Fan? This is not just a Starfield thing?
No. Starfield was a callback to Oblivion.
Oh my gosh, what?
Yes.
I have to find this guy.
He's attached, and he's great. And then we have the first Blade Master. So this is coming from the unofficial Elder Scrolls page. It says, this faction was established by the first Blade Master, Gaiden Shinji, of the Order of Diagna. It was to be a place where warriors could prove their worth. Though he died shortly after its completion, the arena owes its existence to him. So that is why you should play Arena. I think it's a great quest line. I'm hours in. I still haven't beaten it with this playthrough. I'm guessing I probably have like another 2 to 3 hours. I'm the hero, but I think there's a couple other quests like you were mentioning that kind of tie into it.
Yes.
So we will continue to discuss all things Oblivion on Tactically Sound, and we're also hoping to do some Starfield. Get Matt into Starfield officially.
Dude,
get that PlayStation player.
Yeah.
Come on, we got to get you into Starfield and get your thoughts, because I am so excited to hear what you think. So that discussion will be coming as well. And if you guys like this content, you can subscribe to JumbyJumbwa at JUMBYJUMBWA.
100 points. 100 points for Gryffindor.
And yeah, just subscribe to the Yetti Den, and we will see you guys later. Bye.